Welcome to Sideline2Sideline. I'm your co-host Brandon, and apparently my new co-host is Lincoln Riley. I thought he left to Los Angeles. Taylor, where are you at? There he is. Man's got a sour taste in his mouth. Oh man,
this man right here is a menace.
Yeah, we're gonna get into it.
Oklahoma.
Listen, we're gonna get into it, but we have to start out with recruiting news because, of course, with all these coaching, it's been a big week. So let's just go down. If you like recruiting news, obviously, listen up. 4-star defensive end Chris McKellen commits to University of Florida over Oklahoma and Alabama. This was last week before Florida even had a coach. So that's big.
That's good for Florida. You know, they're picking up recruits already. Before they got a head coach. That's good. Yeah.
And then unfortunately for Florida, 4-star wide receiver Isaiah Bond decommits from Florida. The big one that was released today, and we announced it first on Twitter. He announced it on his Instagram, but we announced it first on Twitter. Evan Stewart, the number one wide receiver, commits to Texas A&M. And a lot of
Texas
speculation.
A&M is reeling them in right now.
Yeah, they got Walter Nolan, number one defensive tackle. I mean, they are reeling it in.
They're snatching them up quick, man.
Evan Stewart said that him and Arch Manning were going to play together. I mean, I don't see Arch Manning going to Texas A&M, but
I don't see. Well, hold on now. You know, they're getting a lot of talent right now. There's a slim chance Manning takes a dive and goes to Texas A&M. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but
I watched the video.
It's a good spot, man.
I watched the video of Arch Manning and some blonde chick.
No,
he's going to Ole Miss.
He's not going to Ole Miss.
No,
okay, he's not going to Ole Miss. I mean, granted, he has ties to Ole Miss with his uncle
and Lane Kiffin's there,
but I don't see it.
No, I mean, if he goes to, he'd be a guaranteed starter with Matt Corral going pro. But number one cornerback Jaheim Singletary commits to UGA over South Carolina. That's a big get for UGA. They just keep getting rich.
Yep.
4-star wide receiver Jaden Gibson completely commits to UF, and this is what I mean. Last week when Dan Mullen got fired, he said he's still with UF, but he's not as hot with UF. Like, he's just kind of playing to see who they got as head coach. After they got Billy Napier this a couple days ago, he said, "I'm all in. I'm going to UF." Absolutely love the atmosphere. So that's a big time for UF to hold on to that. Recruit 5-star wide receiver Brandon Ennis unfortunately decommits from Oklahoma after the Lincoln Riley news. It gets bad. 4-star running back Trayon Webb also decommits from Oklahoma, and the number 2 quarterback in the class, 5-star quarterback Malachi Nelson, decommits from Oklahoma, and then today, as of 2 or 3 hours ago, committed to USC and Lincoln Riley. But it's not all bad news for you. DeAndre Moore Jr. stays committed to the University of Oklahoma regardless because he says he's a Sooner through and through. He did not commit to a coach. Taylor, I know you're going to like that.
I absolutely like that. That was good news to hear.
So
a little sun breaking through those clouds.
Yeah. And I would say for Brandon Ennis and Trayon Webb, you probably won't get Malachi Nelson back. They are a class of 2023, so there's still a chance you guys could recruit them. You got a whole nother year. But for Trayon Webb and Brandon Ennis, you might get them back if you can get back on their happy side and get a good head coach. But Malachi Nelson's, he already said he's staying home in L.A. He's from L.A. His family's in L.A. He's not going. With all these coaches being either let go or moving in the gone of the night, sorry, Taylor, this is going to be a hard episode for you.
I know.
The transfer outside of decommitments, the transfer portal was hot, and not only for Oklahoma, but a lot of big names have entered. Former 5-star running back Ashad Clayton enters the transfer portal from Colorado. He'll be a good pickup for any team out there. He's a big physical back. He's got some speed to him. He'll probably start wherever he goes. Jamari Gibbs is the number 1 receiving back in all of college football. That includes being better than Trayvon Henderson, true freshman, over there at Ohio State. So if you need a receiving running back who has some good quality running skills, Jamari Gibbs is out there. And then this is a big one because this was TCU's biggest commitment ever.
This one.
5-star. Yeah.
This one, man.
This one gets your. If you're a college football fan, you're licking your chops at this one. 5-star, number 1 running back, 5-star running back, Zach Evans from TCU enters the transfer portal. I know you wish he comes to Oklahoma.
Dude, look, we will have brighter days ahead of us if this man comes to Oklahoma. You know, I mean, come home, okay? We treat the players right. You know, I thought we treated our coaches right, but I'm telling you, you'll have a good time in Oklahoma if you're out there watching this, which I doubt you are. But if you are, come on down to Sooner Nation.
Yeah.
Promise you,
just don't go to Georgia because we don't need a Georgia dynasty.
No, come on, get out of there.
He was originally committed to Georgia before going to TCU. There are, we had DeMarcus Bowman at Florida, but there are reports that Jamari Gibbs, who Florida was his second option, could. But there's more for Jamari Gibbs. All right, so Jamari Gibbs when he was coming out of high school, I really wanted him from Florida. We got Dan Mullen. Reason why he's fired, because he sucks at recruiting. He literally reached out, and Jamari Gibbs was in our backyard in Florida, literally 30 minutes from the University of Florida. We did not recruit him until like last second. But no, he's actually from Georgia. But either way, a couple hours away from Gainesville. And we just got to him late. But there are reports.
Anything gained there's losses.
Yeah. Good thing is he went to Georgia Tech, and I didn't think he was going to stay at Georgia Tech. It's Georgia Tech. Sorry, Georgia Tech fans. But he did really want to go to University of Tennessee Volunteers. They just never offered him because he was a two-way player in high school. Jamari Gibbs was. He was a 3 or 4-star safety and a 5-star running back. And they wanted him to play safety, but he said, he wanted to be a running back. So because they didn't offer him as a running back, he just didn't take that. So if they, they could change their mind and say, hey, we want you as a running back, and he could go to Tennessee. That was always his first option. Zach Evans is going to be a monster wherever he goes. And again, I hope he doesn't go to Georgia. Oklahoma wide receiver Theo Reese.
Here we go.
I'll let you talk about
let me go ahead and say this. Theo, I thought we had something good, man. You're putting up numbers, getting the ball. I loved you, man. I hate to see you go. I understand. I mean, Oklahoma's in absolute shambles right now. Everything just blew up from Lincoln leaving to everybody decommitting to players entering the transfer portal and news coming out about locker room issues between the coaches after the news broke, all that stuff. But come on, you got to see it through. One coach left, well, 3 technically left, but one decent coach left, blah, blah, blah. I don't think it's time to panic and dip out, but hey, you do you, whatever. And then following you is Hazelwood. He's going to go and take his photos and do his modeling somewhere else and focus on other things other than football. So for that one, I am not upset about. I didn't like Hazelwood.
You're going to be upset about this one.
No,
yes, breaking news.
What do you mean breaking news?
Marvin Mims.
I knew it. He was already saying he was good. God.
I know you weren't going to be that upset about Jaden, but Marvin Mims is a beast. Man.
Marvin Mims, that's a bad one to lose, dude. I was fine with Hazelwood. Really didn't care. He didn't produce too often. Injury prone, whatever. Focus on other things. But Marvin Mims.
That's 3 wide receivers for Oklahoma.
The thing that irritates me the most is I think something that drove him to this decision outside of everything that's happening is he had 1 reception and 1 target the entire game against Oklahoma State.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, I mean, now I kind of understand what we were doing and why the play calling was the way it was.
Yeah.
But come on. I mean, Mims is that guy at Oklahoma.
Yeah, that one's going to hurt.
Wherever he goes, they're getting an insane playmaker. I mean,
that one hurts.
luck wherever you go, I guess.
I'm sorry, man.
Should we move into the blockbuster transfer?
Oh, we still got a couple more. I mean, we got one more. 5-star linebacker Terrence Lewis is leaving Maryland, potential coming to Florida, so that's big time. He's reached out to Anthony Richardson and all that. He was a hard Florida lean. Then he went to Tennessee with Kamar Wilcoxon. Obviously, we know Kamar Wilcoxon.
Get some good players, man.
Yeah, and he was doing that kind of like him and Kamar, which I'm super happy that Kamar finally recommitted to Florida, and he's at Florida now, and I wish him a speedy recovery, but his recruiting process was a turntable. I mean, he went from Florida to Georgia to Tennessee to Ohio State, back down to Florida. So, but Terrence Lewis would be a huge pick up for the University of Florida. And then we'll just go to the big one, man. Like you said, Spencer Rattler. I mean, a lot of these are from Oklahoma. These decommits or these transfers are coming from this Lincoln Riley fallout. It's bad. I
guess you could say he was rattled by the news.
Got him being benched for Caleb Williams.
Wrap it up, put a bow on it, put it under the tree, because I just gave you all a gift.
Yeah, so let's talk about Spencer. Spencer's a good quarterback, man.
He's a good quarterback. He's got some personality issues he needs to contain.
Yeah.
He definitely needs to make better decisions whenever the pressure's on. I mean, you give him wide open receivers, dude's going to make the plays. But that pocket collapses, and you've got nobody to throw to. Interception, fumble, or a sack.
That must be like an Oklahoma quarterback thing, because in the pros.
We will discuss this later on. And it is not an Oklahoma thing. It's a this man right here thing.
Yeah. Right. He was an Oklahoma coach for a little bit. Spencer Rattler is a pretty boy. Like, I'm on top of the world. He gets benched. He gets humbled because it's the first time in his life he's ever been humbled. Caleb Williams has struggled the past couple weeks, and everyone's, we want Spencer. We want Spencer.
Yep.
Caleb Williams' struggles come from him just being inexperienced. Simple.
Yeah, I mean, he's a freshman.
Yeah.
True freshman.
He had a coach, who's a traitor. Put Olivia Rodrigo, he's a traitor. I can't.
Let's go ahead and edit that out later on, right?
Yeah. But Spencer Rattler, these are his top destinations per PFF. USC, of course, following Lincoln Riley. University of Georgia, Ole Miss, thanks to Matt Carroll leaving. Cincinnati and Arizona State. He is originally from Arizona, and Arizona University. Those are kind of like his little six there. So out of those six, probably not going to Arizona University, but out of those six, where do you think he could potentially land? What's a good fit, maybe? Where do you think he should go, and where do you think he will go?
Oddly enough, I'm going to say he's following Lincoln. It's odd to say because he's been benched 2 years in a row. Granted, he wasn't benched the full season last year, but he did get benched by Lincoln. And honestly, him getting benched drove his draft stock to the ground. Then he got benched this season, and he got benched for good, except for, I think, 10 minutes left in a game, and they threw him in, and then they went back to Caleb. So I don't really see him going anywhere else. I don't see him at Ole Miss whatsoever. Cincinnati doesn't seem like a Spencer type of school. So I'm just going to go ahead, and he's following Lincoln. That's what I'm going to say. It's odd, but it just looks like where he should play, honestly.
And where I think he will go is with Lincoln to USC. Where I think he should go is Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. I think that
if they want him.
Yeah, if they want him. I think staying in the SEC, although what could rattle it up is if Arch Manning commits to Ole Miss, because then he's got another 5-star. Caleb Williams was a big-time recruit. He's got another one behind him. They're pulling a Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts kind of thing, Hey, we got the big-time quarterback. Let's pick another one up kind of thing. But I think that he should go to USC or Ole Miss. I think Lane Kiffin's a better coach, quality of a coach. I think, you know.
Yeah, same here.
I think Lincoln Riley is
We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
I've got some things to say about
Lincoln.
you.
All right, so before I let you go in, right? Before we talked about the recruiting news, we talked about the transfers. I'll throw another name out there potentially can enter the transfer portal. He hasn't announced it yet. Emory Jones, potentially. Anthony Richardson, it's his team. He's starting the bowl game. It's already been announced. Anthony Richardson needs to learn how to stay healthy, but he is the superior quarterback by far. So I think Emory Jones, if he wants to make the league like he really wants to, it's time to move on because he's never going to see another starting snap at Florida unless something happens to Anthony. But even then, we have Carlos Del Rio in the background and Nick Evers coming in. So I think it's his time to
Agreed. He needs to pack up and dip up.
Unless he wants to be, a grad assistant coach and just go into coaching, he could always do that. Some of the best coaches were backup quarterbacks. Yeah. But so we'll go into it. Before we let you go off on Lincoln, though, let's bring up this image. Let's bring up our coaching carousel and bring our viewers into what's going on in this chaotic couple of days. Dan Mullen was fired last week. Billy Napier hired at Florida from Louisiana Lafayette. Big time get up for University of Florida. Scared money don't make money is his famous line. Huge get. And then we have Sonny Dykes leaving SMU to go to TCU. As he was leaving for TCU, SMU fans were calling him a traitor and all that. Basically, SMU is basically right across the street from TCU, so literally the man doesn't even have to move. That's how close it is. I was looking up on the map and I was like, Jesus, that's close. So yeah, that's leaving you're happy with your happy relationship with your girlfriend or something, and then you're just you pull a Pete Davidson. So hey, big get up for TCU though. I mean, Sonny Dykes is a good coach. And then we got what's his name? Kellen I don't know. This is a small school, Fresno State.
I don't even know who this guy is.
Where is it at my notes? Kellen DeBoer going to Washington, leaving Fresno State. We're just going to skip past him. Who cares? Before we talk about Lincoln Riley, we forgot to mention that some coaches got some big-time contracts in James Franklin at Penn State. He does not deserve it. And I don't think. And then Mel Tucker from Michigan State, he does deserve it. He got a big-time contract.
I want to touch on Franklin there. You guys win some games. You're never a terrible school, but why are you paying for average seasons for that long?
Yeah,
it's time to move on, man.
10-year
that
deal.
Just makes no sense to me. Just 10 years of average football is what you're going to get. Hope you guys are ready for that.
Well, normally Penn State coaches like to fondle things, so have them fondle the moment. Low blow?
Oof.
Oh, no, that's what happened at the coach there, huh?
Wrap that one
up. Wish I was lying. All right, and then we'll talk about two big ones we're going to talk about here is Lincoln Riley and Brian Kelly. Those are the two big names, and lots of drama filling them. So we'll go ahead and, obviously, you guys know Lincoln Riley went to USC in the midst of the night. Taylor, take it away.
Lincoln Riley, my man. I get it. I understand why you left. Okay, I'm going to read the contract details that I have here. $110 million. USC is buying both of his homes in Norman for $500,000 over asking price, which is like $1 million bonus. And then buying a $6 million home in LA, not helping him find a home, but straight up purchasing.
I will say a $6 million home in LA is like a 2-bedroom apartment.
That's fair. But it's going to be a decent home. And then his family gets unlimited use of a private jet 24/7. You can go anywhere in the world whenever you want. I just want to take a quick trip to France. Boom, you're in France. I want to go to Paris. Boom, I'm in Paris. Whatever you want to do, you can do it. That's insane.
Just don't go to Epstein's Island.
Just don't go there. Lincoln, my man, I get it. I would have done it too. Adios, amigos. I'm out. Deuces. Had a great 5 years. Whatever. Understand completely. But why'd you do it right after the Oklahoma State game? What sense does that make? Now you're not even coaching the bowl game. You're just dipping out. You flew out the same night and went straight to USC. And then you're taking photos in your USC outfit, and you've got the Oklahoma Sooners University Nikes on. What are you doing?
Man,
what
my man didn't even take off the shoes.
You couldn't take off your shoes from the night before and throw on some Skechers or something? Come on, man. Ridiculous. And look, you caused all these kids to transfer, to decommit and everything. You just destroyed an entire program because you wanted all that money. We get it. You want the money? I want the money too, but I'm not going to do it in such a pansy way. It's ridiculous the way you went out there and did it. And look, USC fans, if you're watching, if you ever listen to this, Lincoln is not that good of a coach. He's average at best. We have had superstars, and we played in the Big 12. There's no defense. Okay? Oklahoma fan here. Straight up, no defense. Ever. Okay? Oklahoma hasn't had a defense. Oklahoma State hasn't had a defense. Texas hasn't had a defense. Baylor, you name it. Iowa State, no defense. TCU, no defense. Texas Tech, no defense. Okay? It's a known thing. You need a coach that can bring a great defensive mind to the game. And you did not pick that up. And if you think...
He's bringing the defensive coordinator from Oklahoma.
If you think Grinch is going to come in and give you that defense you need to win some games, go back and watch the last 2 seasons of Oklahoma. It's not there. We've got the talent, but they don't know how to change plays. They don't know how to make adjustments. Okay? You're literally bringing what we had in our conference over to your conference. It ain't going to work. Okay? You're getting all these recruits and everything, but you're not going to be able to do anything if you put up 50, but your defense gives up 50. It just doesn't work out. Okay? Just watch all the Oklahoma games. It doesn't work out. Okay? I just don't get why you did it the way you did. We had 6 different times where we went in a row, back to back to back to back to back to back, and won the Big 12 championship. We did you good. We went to the playoffs twice with you. I mean, I don't know what else we could have done for you except for win a national championship and clearly giving you $110 million, $500,000 over asking price, $6 million home, and a 24/7 access to a private jet. We did everything right.
You just couldn't give him a beach and
you just... I just don't understand why you left the way you did, man.
Yeah. I will say...
It's so unprofessional.
Dude, and I'll say this because Billy Napier is doing it the right way. And I'm not just saying that as a Florida fan. He is not coming to Florida until after University of Louisiana Lafayette's bowl game. He said,
"I'm finishing." That makes sense.
Yeah,
that's professional.
He said, "I'm finishing it out with my guys because I owe it to them because for the past 3 to 4 years, they've put their trust in me and I put my trust in them, and I owe it to my coaching staff. I am staying here until December 5th. So in December, the bowl game is December 4th for the University of Louisiana Lafayette, and December 5th he's flying out to Gainesville, Florida, to officially do his press conference and be shown the campus and all that.
Look,
that's the right way.
This is the last thing I got to say about you, Lincoln. This is how disgusted I am with you. Okay, you walked into these kids' homes. You looked them straight in the face and you told them, "Hey, why don't you come play Sooner football with me? Okay, we'll get to some bowl games. We'll win some conference championships. We'll win the Red River rivalry. Okay, maybe even win a national championship."
That's a tongue twister. The Red River rivalry.
We'll go out and we'll win some games. You sold these kids on the University of Oklahoma. You sold them you.
I don't mean to cut you off. Didn't he say this is going to be the mecca of, talking about USC, the mecca of college football, and then a Oklahoma player called him out?
Yep.
Oklahoma.
Yep.
Well,
Isaiah
Oklahoma played.
Thomas said
Yep.
that's what he said to us last week. Okay. That's a perfect example.
Such a liar, dude.
You looked at these kids right in their face and you said, hey, we're going to win some games. We're going to win some bowl games. Times get tough. We're moving to the SEC. You're not liking it. You dip out on these kids that you promised you'd be there for.
Yeah. Well,
look, some of these kids look up to you as a father figure. Some of them come from broken homes. Some of them don't have people to look up to, and you were that person for them, and you turn your back on them.
Yeah. I say, like,
ridiculous, man.
Look, so like, listen, all these kids are technically grown men. You looked other grown men in the face and said, "I'm gonna be here," and this is right. He gaslit the entire OU fan base, coach staff, everyone.
I'm not going to be the next coach of LSU.
Yeah, dips. Like the next day was like, I didn't say USC.
two different colleges.
The main thing for people, they're saying the reason why he left and the reason why whatnot, and he won't admit it. He was afraid of the SEC. He did not want to go. He did not want to go to the SEC. When the reports are coming that Oklahoma and Texas might go to the SEC, and Oklahoma is going to be in the SEC West with Alabama, while Texas is going east with Georgia, Florida, and Vanderbilt. Kind of the easier conference of the SEC, but Oklahoma is going in the harder conference again. Sorry, Taylor. He dipped. He said, "I don't want this. Why are we doing this? I don't want it. We cannot win here." He kind of basically said that without saying that, which is not putting faith in your players, which is saying that your players are garbage compared to the other players, which to me that's a slap in the face as a player if you're my coach.
I don't have the phrase verbatim here. You know, I don't have it on my screen over here. I don't have it on any notes in front of me or nothing like that. Yeah. But the reason given by Lincoln as to why he took this head coaching job at USC was he wanted to take on a new challenge. Was the SEC not a challenge?
I mean, that's if you're talking about Mecca, that's the hardest conference.
Look, okay, you want to talk about I'm willing to take these challenges. I'm willing to go out. I'm willing to show the world and in the college football world what I am and how good of a coach I am. You go to USC. Yeah. USC. Granted, it's a historic college. Okay?
Yeah, it's not a bad gig.
It's a very historic college, and it's probably one of the best coaching gigs out there. But is it a challenge? No,
it's not. I mean, there's
not at all.
Were they in the Pac? Are they in Pac-12?
You taking Oklahoma University and that trash defense and heading out there to the SEC and winning some games? That's a challenge.
Yeah, okay? I mean, beating Vanderbilt, that's a tough one.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm talking about the good schools in the SEC. Wasn't talking about Vanderbilt.
Vanderbilt is top tier. Vanderbilt, I think, I'm going to throw this out there. I think Vanderbilt would be competing for championships in, say, like the Big Ten or Pac-12. If they weren't in the SEC, they would be competing.
Possibly. I'll give it to you.
Maybe with, schools like Montana State or North Dakota State. Those are some big name schools.
Oh, yeah. Big time. You know what? I'm done with you, Lincoln. You're done with us. I'm done with you. I hope you have a terrible time at USC. I hope you don't win as many games. I hope you never make it to a conference championship. I hope you never win a national championship. And I hope these kids flake out on you like you did all ththese other kids and the entire fan base of Oklahoma. That's all I got to say about you.
I don't think Lincoln at USC is going to win that. I can't look. It's USC, and if he can get some big time recruits, and he will. He's a pretty good recruiter. Is what he's known for.
Look, I don't see how he's going to get any recruits. He's getting some now. He's getting some pretty talented kids right now.
They're all from LA, so I mean it's pretty easy to hey, come
but
from LA.
I don't see how he's going to get these big name recruits coming in there because you flaked out on an entire university, dude.
Yeah.
I don't want to play with you. And I don't want to play for you.
And the worst part about it, so he did his press conference, and I know we were talking about this earlier off the air. DeMarco Murray, former Oklahoma Sooner running back and current coach, He walked in Lincoln Riley, came in tears, crying like, "I'm so sorry, guys." And DeMarco Murray stood up and said, he said, "Cut the crap," but he didn't say crap. You guys get the gist. And Lincoln Riley or DeMarco Murray and a couple other coaches, because essentially that means that they're going to be out of a job at the end of the season because whatever new coach comes in, he's going to want his own regime. So he not only screwed over the players, he screwed over the rest of the coaches, but they all had like a 2-minute roast sesh of him, and Lincoln Riley just had to stand there and take it, and he left the room crying. He deserved that.
Yeah, I mean, he's just going to get on that private jet and wipe his tears with $110 million, but...
And there's a lot of recruits, too, out there for Oklahoma that are still staying committed that we didn't mention, that said as long as DeMarco Murray stays there, they're staying committed. DeMarco Murray is well respected on that campus, on that school, and in that program. I do think that, he could be potentially raised to head coach. Another name that's been thrown out there for Oklahoma is Cliff Kingsbury, the current head coach of the Cardinals. I don't see why he would leave the NFL. Maybe there's more money.
Nope. I'm going to go ahead and nip that one right in the
bud. He's got 1 year left on his contract with the Cardinals, but I don't see why the Cardinals would not extend him.
There's no way that Kingsbury is going to give up one of the youngest teams in the NFL with the best record currently. Him himself is young. He's made it to the big leagues, as far as you can go as an NFL or a football coach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it happening. But hey, as you see, stranger things have happened. Whatever.
I mean, another name out there, yes, he left in bad fashion with the University of Florida. I mean, could Dan Mullen? It's a weaker. Listen, right? He's coaching the SEC, and he went to 3 New York Six Bowls. Outside of this year, it's a bad year, but I mean, he'd be going technically to the SEC. He's staying in the SEC. Oklahoma's switching, but he'd be going to the West. That's where he was at Mississippi State.
Thank you.
He knows how to coach in the SEC. I mean, I don't know. I don't think he will. I don't think Oklahoma will. But if you're looking for a coach with experience and you're entering a new conference and you want a coach that kind of knows the ins and outs of that conference, it's a name that I would float out there. I think you're safe, Taylor. I don't think Dan Mullen's coming to Oklahoma.
We'll see.
But it's just a name to throw out there, and he's out in the market.
Yeah.
Lincoln Riley, you are scum of the scum of the scum. I get why you did it for the money, but this is my problem, right? If you're going to leave for the money, that's fine. If you're going to leave because it's California compared to Norman, Oklahoma, that's fine. But finish it out with your guys, right? And he's not the only coach. We'll relay it. We'll go ahead and piggyback off this. He's not the only coach who just left his team in the middle of the night and had to do a little conference. Brian Kelly is leaving Notre Dame for LSU. What? Like, Notre Dame is about to be potentially in the playoffs, and you just left, and you're not even finishing out the season, Brian Kelly. You literally hopped on a plane, signed your contract to LSU, went back to Notre Dame this morning, gave a 2-minute press conference where you didn't let anyone ask questions, didn't let anyone respond, and you just say, "Hey, guys, I'm sorry you learned out the way you did. I'm going to LSU." And this is how players, Taylor, let me tell you, right? Assistant coach was in a recruit's house. A recruit's house, recruiting the guy, going, "Hey, man, Brian Kelly's a great coach. Notre Dame's a great school. Northern Indiana, it's great. South Bend, Indiana, it's a phenomenal place." Yep. And then he leaves the recruit's house and then looks on his phone on Twitter and sees Brian Kelly goes to LSU, and he goes, "I have never looked more like an a-hole in my life because I just told lies to this kid." And he said he hasn't even left the dude's driveway yet when he found out. So Brian Kelly didn't let his assistant. That's disrespectful. Brian Kelly did not.
That's disrespectful, unprofessional. Yeah. I mean, that's the lowest low gets right there. But like, hey, go out to blah blah blah's house, try and recruit him, blah blah blah. And as he leaves the door, he's like, "By the way, I'm leaving."
Oh, and it gets more disrespectful, right? Brian Kelly has thought about leaving Notre Dame for a while now, apparently. He did not tell any of his coaches or his recruits or anything like that. Because a couple weeks ago, after when Dan Mullen got originally fired, or they're talking about firing him, Brian Kelly reached out to University of Florida to see if that Florida job will be open and if they were interested in him. So before he took the LSU job. So he's been trying to get out of Notre Dame. So the disrespect just continues. And not only that, last night, instead of calling a meeting in the morning, like he did call a meeting in the morning to address it, like we just talked about, but he texted his coaches, his recruits, and his players in a mass text chain, not even individually, but as a max text, and said, "Hey guys, I'm sorry, but adios." Like, dude, that's so dirty. And he's not even and it's not like USC and Oklahoma, right? Oklahoma's not going to the college football playoffs, but Notre Dame is ranked number 5 right now. Could potentially, and guess, and this, you know what? He messed up his players even more. Guess what? College football playoffs, the voters already said out loud that if Notre Dame doesn't have a head coach, that does factor if they're going to vote them into the top 4 of the playoffs.
Ooh.
So Notre Dame is not going to go to the college football playoffs now because Brian Kelly's selfish decision not to finish out the season. As a player, I am livid. Your thoughts?
That's just, I mean, it goes hand in hand with Lincoln, you know, unprofessional, rude, discourteous. I mean, straight up. I mean, let's see what they got them ranked right now. Okay, so after tonight's rankings, they fall at number 6. I mean, they've got a really good shot at getting in the top 4 right now because Alabama and Georgia go up against each other. Michigan's got a pretty tough game. I think Cincinnati's got their championship wrapped up. Oklahoma State's got a tough time. So that's 3 potential losses that could bump them up to the top 5. That's scary if they're going to take into account whether or not they have a head coach or not.
Yeah.
And he's just dips out like that. You know, if I'm the players, I'm pissed. I'm disgusted. Again, you dipped out on kids that you looked them in the face and said, "I'm here for you. Let's go win some games. Let's go out there and play some ball." And I just don't get the mindset of saying, "Adios, I'm out right now. I'm dipping." Look, if I did that at my job and I use them as a reference later, I'm never getting another job.
Yeah.
I don't see how these schools that hired these coaches can feel good about who they hired considering how they left.
Yeah. They could leave at a whim anytime.
Yeah. They could be like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Peace. It just makes no sense. So I hate the situation for these kids, the families, whatever, you know, everybody's hyped to potentially get into the college football playoffs, potentially win a national championship.
Yeah.
They don't even have a head coach anymore. The man that recruited them.
And it gets worse, right? Because we talk about Brian Kelly and Notre Dame. Obviously, he left to LSU. One, it's a good thing for Nick Saban because in his contract, he has to be paid like a couple million more than the top head coach and paid head coach in the SEC.
Yeah.
So with this new contract, he'll get a little pay raise. But Luke Fickell, the head coach in Cincinnati, is potentially leaving for Notre Dame before the playoffs. So Cincinnati has never been ranked in the top 4, let alone made the college football playoffs. And if right before they make the college football playoffs, especially that the college football playoff committee said they're going to take into consideration about head coaching, if he just dips as well, oh my Lord. And again, he's thinking about it. He hasn't done it yet, hasn't said he was doing it yet, but he's a top candidate for Notre Dame job.
That's going to be 2 schools potentially in the college football playoffs or potentially having the chance to make the college football playoffs without a freaking head coach. Are you kidding me?
Oh, man.
Look, I get it whenever these players, whenever they make it to a bowl game, they're like, hey, I don't want to put my body on the line. The draft's coming up. I'm leaving. I don't want to play the game. I get that. I don't really like it. You went to the school to play for the school, play for the school. You know, you got a scholarship to play ball. You're not injured. Get out there, play ball. But I get it because they don't want to get hurt. This is just on a whole nother level.
Yeah.
This is just being greedy, unprofessional, and disgusting, and putting these kids out there and being like, ha, deuces.
They're just pawns, man. And that's how I would feel as a recruit. Now, I don't think Luke Finkel, whatever his name is, I don't think he'll leave until after the bowl game or the playoffs.
I hope not.
I do think he might take the job. It's a bigger job, easier to recruit. I think he'll take that more money. But I do think he'll stay out of South Bend, Notre Dame, over there until after Cincinnati either wins or loses all their bowl games and playoffs and all that. Yeah. Hopefully he does. If not, then he's just a dirtbag like Lincoln and Brian Kelly. But we'll piggyback off that. We keep talking about the playoffs. Last week, the playoff committee also announced that next year is going to be a 12-team playoff. Your thoughts?
Terrible idea.
Top 12 gets in.
Okay, I'm just going to go to the college football playoff rankings right now. Okay.
Yeah, give us the top 12. Let's see who's in. If we're doing it this,
just so we could see potentially what it would be this year and how these teams would play if it was happening now. Yeah. So of course, number 1 you got Georgia, you've got number 2 Michigan, number 3 Alabama, and number 4 Cincinnati. That's your top 4 right now. Mm-hmm. If the playoffs started today, those would be the teams. If it was 12, you'd have Oklahoma State at number 5, Notre Dame at number 6, Ohio State at number 7, Mississippi, Ole Miss, at number 8, Baylor at number 9, Oregon at number 10, Michigan State at 11, and BYU at 12. You think BYU...
By the way, BYU would have to play Georgia because that's one seed always go against the weakest seed, so that's BYU versus Georgia.
You think BYU
those little Mormon white kids are going to get destroyed, man.
And look, okay, starting at number 7 all the way to 12, these teams have 2 losses. In my opinion, a 2-loss team shouldn't even be in the playoffs. I think if you're going to extend the playoffs to anything, you should extend it to 6. Okay, because Oklahoma State is a really good team. They could do a lot.
I'll make the argument.
Dame's a good team.
I'll make the argument 8. I think the top 8.
Eight's not bad. That would put Ohio State in, and it would put Ole Miss in. Ole Miss is a good team. I don't think they're playoff ready. No. I think they would get clobbered by Ohio State. Yeah. Notre Dame, they might be able to put up against. Oklahoma State would kick them. Cincinnati, I'm still iffy. I don't know what to say about you guys. If you make the playoffs, I'm sorry. Alabama would destroy them, Michigan would destroy them, and Georgia would destroy them. So,
I think 8's a nice middle ground.
8 would definitely be the max. 12 is just ludicrous.
At this point, you might as well do instead of doing AP poll top 25, do an AP poll top 26, and just do 26 team playoff like March Madness.
Might as well. I mean, at this point, at this rate, why are we even doing this? Is it because we feel bad for the other teams? I mean, the top 4 teams fought to get to this spot. Yeah.
But I guess counter argument would be is because the committee and whatnot considers strength of schedule. But I mean, just imagine this: UTSA, it was ranked top 25, and if we did a top 26 instead of top 25, like do a 2016 playoff, UTSA would be dead last going against Georgia.
Yeah. I don't like it. I don't like this 12.
Talk about a warm-up game.
Would be the max.
Yeah.
6 would be, in my opinion, would be the perfect college football playoff scheme. Personally, I don't know why it was 4. I think 6 should have been the original idea. And if you're gonna do 12, I think you should start with 6 first, and then move to 8. See how that works out for you.
And fans' reactions and stuff like that.
Yeah, because you can't jump into 12 and then backtrack because that's not going to look good for anybody.
Now it's just going to keep going and going and going. You know, you give an inch, you take a mile.
Yeah. 2 years from now, it's going to be top 14, then top 16, then top 18. Yeah. I'm not a fan of it. I don't agree, but I don't get paid that kind of money. So
we don't get paid at all. So speaking of college football playoffs, obviously we talked about the 12. This year it's 4. So who are your top 4 that you think are going to be? Now, mind you, Alabama and Georgia play. If Alabama loses to Georgia, does that drop them out of the top 4? Your thoughts, and who are your top 4? Should that drop them out of the top 4?
It should drop them out of the top 4. No 2-loss team should be in the college football playoffs, especially if we're doing the 4 spot.
So if Alabama loses to Georgia and that drops them out of your top 4, does Oklahoma State take that spot at 4.
Yes.
Obviously, they wouldn't be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oklahoma State. I would put Georgia would win. If Michigan wins, which I believe they will.
Yeah, they will.
Alabama's going to lose to Georgia. Cincinnati. I just don't see how you can have them in the top 4 and then they win and then boot them out, because I don't think Notre Dame has had any better of a season than Cincinnati, honestly, regardless of strength of schedule.
So yeah.
So I would say Alabama gets booted out, Cincinnati moves to 3, Oklahoma State 4, and that's your college football playoffs.
All right. I will agree. Listen, as a Gator fan, I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, he's biased," but I just don't see if Alabama loses to Georgia. Now, if Alabama beats Georgia, they're in, and Georgia's still in no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't think Georgia will be number 1 anymore.
Georgia will probably bumped down to 3 or 4.
Yeah, I think that Michigan will probably take that top spot. They're ranked number 2 right now, and they're playing really good football.
Yeah.
But I think Alabama has to win and they're in. That's what I would say. That's what I would hope. I think that the college football playoff committee has given Alabama a lot of handouts. I mean, they play teams like Davidson College, Antarctica University. You know, like these,
Antarctica University.
These no-name schools that start out their season just because those name schools get paid. But
yeah,
I think that Alabama, who they play last week, they struggled against
Auburn.
They struggled against Auburn, which obviously dropped them from 2. And they lost to Texas A&M, and Auburn was 6-5, 6-6, or something like that. I think Oklahoma State, if they beat Baylor, which is a top opponent, they should take that spot if Alabama loses. Now, if Alabama wins, of course they get in. But to me, if I was a voter, it's winning you're in for Alabama. That's it this upcoming week against Georgia.
And while we're talking about college football playoffs and stuff, I'm going to say I don't personally believe that Notre Dame should be anywhere in the discussion of being in the college football playoffs. For 1, how they've been playing. 2, considering the fact they don't have to play for a conference championship. I think you should have to win your conference championship to be in the college football playoffs.
And 3, they don't have a coach anymore. So.
And they don't have a coach. So
I would say Notre Dame's out. I'm not even considering them. Yeah, and it's where we talk about Brian Kelly. He's bringing the Notre Dame outside of Luke Fickell, not Mel Tucker. Freeman, their defensive coordinator, was their top one. He's taking Freeman, making him the highest paid defensive coordinator in all of college football, down to LSU. So I think Notre Dame's in shambles right now. They're losing recruits. I don't think Notre Dame should be there. I don't think their head will be focused. I don't think players are being focused. The only team, I think Oklahoma State should be in there right now over Alabama. I think they've played harder opponents at this point at the end of the season, and everything's always about what have you done for me lately, not what have you done for me in the past. I would put Oklahoma State in there.
Let me pull up Oklahoma State's schedule this year real quick. Let's see. Is this accurate? If this is accurate, which I believe it is, they played Oregon State, McNeese State, I don't know who that is, Missouri State, Tulsa, Boise, Kansas State, Texas. They played Baylor, they were ranked at the time.
Oklahoma.
Played TCU, Kansas, Iowa State, Texas Tech, Oklahoma. I mean, I don't know.
That's like two.
I will say this: almost every game, they've won by a pretty decent margin.
Their offense and defense are explosive.
Yeah, their defense is really good.
And you know what I like about that is that Billy Napier has already contacted Oklahoma State's defensive coordinator, and he's trying to bring him over to Florida. So
it looks like the most points they allowed was 36 on the year.
30s. Who was that to?
That was to Oregon State. That's good. State. I mean, they held Kansas to 3 points. They held West Virginia to 3 points. They held Texas Tech to 0. They gave it to Oklahoma. Oklahoma still scored 33, but they if you watch the game, they manhandled Oklahoma.
Yeah, I watched it. I was crying for
TCU
you.
only put up 17. They put 63 up on TCU. Their defense is good. I don't care what you say about their strength of schedule here. Their defense has proven to be good,
Yeah,
especially later in the season. So I would say Oklahoma State deserves to be in. All right, Alabama just hasn't been.
They don't feel like the Alabama of old. Like Bryce Young is, potential Heisman winner over there, Alabama freshman quarterback. And they have Mechie and Williams, and they have good receiving core and Sanders at running back. But I don't know. I think Alabama is a great team, right? They always are. But I think this year Oklahoma State is better.
Agreed.
Simple as that. So I guess we should get into our top 25. We don't let the show run too long, as we are trying our best to cut it down.
All right, so I'm going to read off the games coming up. We don't have too many slated for week 14 for the top 25 here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to read the short list here for you. First up, we've got number 10 Oregon going up against number 14 Utah. These are all championship games, I believe.
I'm going Oregon.
All right, you got Oregon. I'm going to take Utah for the upset.
Okay.
Then we got Baylor, number 9, going up against number 5 Oklahoma State.
I'm going to Oklahoma State. If I'm going to put them in the playoffs, they have to win. So.
Yeah, I'm going Oklahoma State as well. I do believe Baylor's going to give them a problem, but I do believe Oklahoma State's going to be able to weather that storm. We've got Utah State going up against number 19 San Diego State.
San Diego State.
Yeah, same. No real debate on that one. We've got App State, otherwise known as Appalachian State, going up against number 20, the Louisiana Ragin' Cajun.
As he is my coach now, I am going to have to go with the Raging Cajuns.
Please.
Please win.
Please win this one.
Yeah.
Then we've got the big show here coming in. Number 1, Georgia, going up against number 4, Alabama.
I'm going to go Georgia.
Yeah, I got Georgia slated for that one. Then we've got number 16, Houston, going up against number 3, Cincinnati.
I'm going to go with Cincinnati.
Ooh.
Are you going to pull the upset? I know you've been harping on Cincinnati, saying they haven't played anyone.
Look, they haven't played anybody. Houston is somebody right now because they're ranked 16. I don't really think Houston is that school
to beat them. I think Cincinnati squeezes into the playoffs.
Look, I'm going to say undecided. New answer here on the show.
What? No.
No.
You can't. Was it 0-0 the score?
No, I'm not saying 0-0. I just don't have any type of answer to give you right now.
Cincinnati, Houston, right now. Go.
Houston.
Okay, we got Houston. All right, you can't just go undecided. What is this?
All right, so we got Houston for the upset. You've got Cincinnati taking it on, pushing for a spot in the college football playoffs.
If Cincinnati loses, Oklahoma State moves up. Alabama, even if they lose, should stay top 4.
Yeah. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Then we've got Michigan, number 2, going up against number 15, Iowa.
I'm going to go, I'm kidding, Michigan.
I got Michigan slated for that one, too.
Yeah.
This one's not too big of a difference here. We got number 17, Pittsburgh, going up against number 18, Wake Forest.
I'm going to go Pittsburgh.
I'm going to go Wake Forest. I think they finish off the season pretty strong.
All right.
That's all we got coming up this week. We do have some bowl games that are already up on the schedule. They're for late December. If you want me to read these ones off, there's only 3 of them.
Florida versus App State is one of them. We got an early one.
Okay, here, let me rephrase that. We have 1 bowl game already determined. 2 other bowl games only have 1 team already determined to play in that bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
So this one is the Bahama Bowl with Toledo going up against Middle Tennessee.
Middle Tennessee?
I want to go Toledo on that one.
Imagine naming your college Middle Tennessee. Hey, where are you located? Middle Tennessee? Is that the name of your college? Or is that location? No, that's the name of the college. No.
So it looks like for the Military Bowl, Eastern Carolina University, the Pirates have made the spot. Their opponent is to be determined at this time.
I'll take to be determined. ECU. Yeah, I'm sorry. To be determined is a massive school.
That game is slated to play on December 7th at 2:30 p.m. And then the other bowl game with a participant with no opponent is the Hawaii Bowl with Memphis going up against to be determined. Game is on December 24th at 8 p.m.
To be determined is a great school. Apparently, they made a couple bowls.
Absolutely. So that's your games. Not too many going on this weekend. Looks like they're all going to be on Saturday per
Florida
usual.
Should be playing App State that I saw. December something.
Well, I'm looking at the top 25. So.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, this is just top 25 teams that are playing this week. Everybody else.
I'm going to Florida.
Got to wait for the bowl games.
Yeah. If we lose to App State, then yeah.
Figured we'd be a little biased there. But that's it. All these games are on December 4th, clearly on the Saturday, except for Oregon versus Utah. That's going to be late Friday. So make sure you tune into that one. Don't miss it. That's a pretty big game. So we'll see what happens. That's your top 25 games for this upcoming week.
And that is our college edition. If you guys did not know, we announced it on Twitter. We are breaking up the episodes. We're no longer talking college and NFL in one big episode. We're just going to try to break them up, although this is going to run another hour just for college just because of all the news. But we're going to be releasing college news every Wednesday, Wednesday, and then NFL news Thursday, I believe. So check it out. 6 o'clock. Oh, my bad. Not meaning to throw my pen down. 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Both episodes will be released on Wednesday and Thursday at that respective time. 6 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit that notification. Hit that bell and get updated. If you like college news, follow us on the college side. And Taylor, I'll let you do one little thing that you want to do. Read between the lines for Lincoln Riley there for you before we press end. All right. There you go, Lincoln Riley. All right. See you guys soon.